Good morning, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope that you're good, and I hope that you're going to have a good day from this point onwards. If you have not been having a good day, right? I really hope you're going to have a good day from this point onwards after watching this video or after listening to this episode in our message for today. Now, today we're going to get our discussion from the book of Nehemiah, chapter 5. Right, we're going to look at chapter 5 and we're also going to look at verse 7. Now, there's something very interesting there, right? Something very interesting that I want us to pick out. Now, just before we get to verse 7, let me just give you a brief summary of what was going on, or just a brief context of what was going on, right? Now, when you go to Nehemiah chapter 5, right, we realize that the children of Israel that were there, they started complaining to Nehemiah, and they started telling him, you know what, this and this, we cannot do A, we cannot do B, we cannot do C, and we cannot continue in our work because we have landed our lands, our vineyards. We have nothing left for us or in our names. We have nothing left remaining in our names, right? Therefore, we cannot continue to pay tribute and all of that. And they come and they complain to Nehemiah, right? And Nehemiah, upon hearing this message, he then keeps on hearing this message and says that he gets angry. And now when we come to verse 7, this is where we're going to get our message for today, right? The power of speaking the things that you want to see happening in your life, right? The power of speaking things that you want to see happening in your life. This is where we're going to get our message from. Now, guys, I want you to understand something before we get into our message for today, that the Bible is beyond just a book, right? The Bible is beyond just a book. It's not even a religious book as well, right? The Bible is not a religious book as well. But the Bible is, what can I say? The Bible is more of a spiritual book, right? It's a spiritual book, guys. And I just wanted to grab that concept before we get into our message for today. Now, when you come to verse 7, after Nehemiah has had all these complaints by the children of Israel, he then says that, and then I consulted with myself. And that's just a point I want you to keep in mind, right? That's where we're going to get our message from for today. He says that, and then I consulted with myself. Think about this, guys. And then I consulted with myself. Now, when he consulted with himself, he started to speak to the nobles and the princes and everyone that was there, right? He started speaking to them and telling them exactly the things that he wanted to see happening. Now, one thing I want you to know that is that after all had been said and done, at one point in the verse, after verse 7, right? After verse 7, when he says that, and then I consulted with myself, it then says that I spoke to them and they didn't respond. Now, this is when he was still consulting with himself. He's speaking to himself, but he's responding for them. Guys, does this make any sense? Okay, so this is what was happening. Let me try and make it simple, right? So, the complaints came. That's point number one. Point number two, he consulted with himself. That's point number two. Point number three, in consulting with himself, he was speaking to himself about the things that he wants to see come into existence, right? And when you come to all these things, he starts to speak to the nobles and to the princes, and he's saying the things that he wants to see come into life, and he's saying the things that he wants to see come into existence happening, right? And he says all these kind of things, and he says that, and when you look at it, guys, he says that, is this how things are supposed to be? And he's speaking to the nobles and to the princes. Now, guys, I want you to keep in mind, he was not speaking to them physically, but he was speaking to them whilst he was speaking to himself. Does it make any sense? He was not speaking to them physically, but he was speaking to them as he was consulting with himself. In other words, let's say I am here, right? And as you are watching this message, you are the, let's say for example, you are the nobles and the princes, right? But as I am here, I start speaking to myself about the things that I want you to say back to me as I am speaking to myself, or as I come and speak to you, right? As I am here, I start speaking to myself and I start saying, you know what, when I get there, I'm going to say this and she or he is going to say that. I'm going to say this and they're going to respond in this way. This is what Nehemiah does, guys. And in the end of all this speaking, he then shakes his leg to confirm, saying that anyone who goes against what I have said, may also God shake him out. Right? And the message I want to bring to you today, guys, is that speak the things that you want to see happening in your life. Right? Have conversations, have positive self conversations that you want to see happening in your life. Go and read chapter 5, guys, and from verse 7, or read the whole chapter, but read from verse 7, guys, with concentration. When you start saying, and then I consulted with myself. I just want you to get that point, guys. The power of positive self talk. Speak into existence, or speak to yourself the things that you want to see happening in your life. That's the message I want to bring to you today, guys. That speak to yourself the things that you want to see happening in your life. Have you ever gone to someone and as they are speaking, they say something and you're like, I knew you were going to say that. How did you know that they were going to say that? Because in yourself, you said it, that, okay, after they say this, they're going to say that. And then when they say it, you just like, okay, yeah, I knew they were going to say that. This is the power that you have, but you do it on an unconscious level. Now, imagine when you do this on a conscious level and you're doing it to speak things that you want to see happening in your life and to say positive things that you want to see happening in your life. Imagine the big changes that will come into your life, guys. When you can, if you can do such thing on an unconscious level, imagine on a conscious level. That's just the message I wanted to bring to your attention today, guys. The power of positive self-talk. Speak to yourself the things that you want to see happening in your life. Be conscious of the conversations that you have about yourself. For remember, greater is He that is within than the one that is in the world. Guys, this is the message for today, guys. I hope you're going to have a good day. May God bless you.